Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bobby Waldron and this is the HMS Victory build, episode 7. Now, issues 20 to 24 finally arrived, so we can now crack on with Victory herself. Now, first off, we want to sort of represent some planking on the inside here, because we're going to see just a little bit on the inside here. I've sprayed with some Vallejo 075 black just on here. This is where it sort of like kind of makes the inside a little bit darker, because there's little tiny gun ports and stuff, and you can't quite see in there, but it just sort of blacks that out a bit. And what we're going to do is, to do this, what we're going to do is we want to use our center line just here, which is like a nice straight edge just there. And what we're going to do is, from the third sort of bulkhead notch we've got here, we're going to line up, let's get them centimeters and millimeters side, and we're going to butt this side up right to where we know we've got our nice straight edge, right, and we're going to line that up with our little bulkhead notch just there, right. And what we're going to simply do is start working our way down with a pencil, and we're just going to make a little mark every 5 millimeters, exactly as exact as you can make it. And there we go, that's one side sort of done there. And then you want to come along and do exactly the same, but this side as well. Really sort of butt it up, sort of get it as level as you can, right, and then make those 5 mil marks. I'll just do a couple just to speed things up. And then what you want to do, right, you want to line your ruler up with your first 5 mil mark you've made, and then your first 5, and then your second 5 mil mark over the opposite side, right. And then we draw a line that goes straight across there, right. And hopefully, as you can see, what we've ended up doing is making a perfect straight 5 mil line going along there. And you want to do that all the way down. But just to speed things up, I'm just gonna whack a couple in and sort of like show you the first bit. So let's whack one more in, put in each little mark to the other, and as you can see, that's looking really nice and straight now. So what we want to do is well, first off, I need to just raise this up a little bit, right, just so I can use my T-square a lot easier, right. And using the T-square, we want to again butt it up to our right up to where we know it's nice and straight, right. And then we want to now move this along until we come, hold on, let's check I've got this right, yeah, until we come to our first bulkhead notch just here again. And we want to draw a line. We want to let me just remember this, yeah, we want to start at the top one just up here, right, and we want to draw a line on one of the planks, and then we want to skip one, draw another line, skip one, draw another line, so you end up with something like this. It's nice, straight, it's square, but you're drawing a line, skipping, drawing a line, skipping, right. Let's do this side this time, although I'm left-handed, but I'll try and sort of get you on camera a bit better. Again, we bring it up to where our bulkhead notch is, and we want to then draw a line and skip one, draw a line, well, skip one, draw a line, skip one, draw a line, and hopefully, as you can see then, we've got this sort of planking system going on. And just to sort of finish it off, simply we can come along and we can just dot in some nails, right, just like so. Right, and basically you want to do that all the way down, nice and easy. I mean, we can also add in some nails here as well. Right, but you want to get it so, you know, they look like planks of wood. It's nice and easy, really. The next thing you also want to do, because we've penciled this in, it is quite easy. You know, you touch it, it smudges and it starts to fade. So nice, quick, simple matte coat, sprayed on top, seal it in, and jobs are good. And so what I've just done sort of off camera is something just nice, quick and easily. I've just sprayed, you know, all this sort of black where it tells you to spray it black. Now with the bottom deck, it doesn't really matter if you kind of overspray, and you know, as you can see, sprayed into there a bit, that doesn't matter. All that's going to get covered up. So you know, it's nice and easy to do it that way. With the next step, deck up, what I've done is I've basically sprayed black on the underside, so that when we put our next deck on, it will all nicely be black there. I've done the same as well with these pieces as well. But what I want to do now is, now we're all ready, we can basically glue this into place. So what we want to do is get in some of our wood glue. Right, just peel off the top there where it's dried, and we just simply want to start applying the wood glue all the way along these beams. Alright, it doesn't matter if you know, I mean, you may as well just kind of like blob it on. Don't be too shy, right? Because we want to make sure it glues really good to these beams, and we don't have to worry about it oozing out, because again, we're not going to see this deck at all. Right, last one, or should I say, don't forget the one just here as well. Let's get that in there. Right then, and what we want to do now is we want to apply this next deck. Okay, we want to sort of slide it in without sort of touching the glue yet. Right, and then just nicely get it down. And remember, you want to get it so that crikey, this thing's a bit too big for this. Right, the line that we're drawn here to get the dead center, you want to make sure it lines up nicely there, as well as the line that we've put on these planks, on this plank here as well, to get it all nicely lined up. And then what you also want to do, just finding the right one. Hold on, I think it's one of these. I've arrowed them up to kind of sort of show which end it goes and which way it faces, which makes it this one here. Right, so we just want to place in these support beams. Right, and what this is simply going to do is it's just going to nicely hold this plank, this top deck down, and then plain and simply, anything from your, you know, whatever, anything just to weigh down this deck, okay, like so, and let that dry. It does say instructions to do this one at a time. Which is, yes, is a good idea to do it one at a time, but just remember that the problem is you've got all this glue that oozes out just down here, right? So if we glue in one at a time and we follow the instructions, what the instructions wanted us to do was to put one in and then put all these planks in place, which is supposed to line up all the decks together. Problem is with that, you're potentially going to glue them slightly down because of all this oozed out glue and everything. So it's best just to one at a time, put them in, glue them in, and work your way around nicely like that. So I'm going to carry on whacking all these in. So as you can see, that's all nicely glued down. You want to leave it for a nice bit of time to actually dry, depending on what wood glue you're using. The next thing as well, you need to make sure that we leave a little gap just here, and this is for like a little door that's going to go there. If you're doing the cutaway, you'll have to read the instructions, and you've got to sort of leave gaps here and there, but I'm not doing the cutaway, so you'll have to work that one out following through the instructions. It's rather easy to follow, but what we have is, remember, we did not glue these into place. We just placed them into place just so as it held down our deck here onto our supports. Now what we want to do, okay, is simply come along with some glue, right, and we just want to run this along, if it hasn't dried up. 1 second, there we go. Run it along the bottom, right, nice and easy, all the way along there. We want to then put this to one side, right, and then I've got a paintbrush, an old paintbrush, right. Now if you're going to use paintbrush to do this, as soon as you're finished, you know, clean it in some water. We're now going to just paint just underneath, right, where our beam is going to be touching, just underneath here, each and every one, just to sort of glue the top part of it in place. We don't have to worry about getting too messy, because I mean, we're not really going to be seeing inside this area too much. Last one just there. Right, remember, get your paintbrush and make sure you give it a good clean, so you can at least use it again. And then we're just going to come in, right, with our beam, right, and we're just going to slide it in at an angle first, so we don't get loads of the glue actually on the deck. Just try and get it in as best as we can. Let's push that along. Right, and then this is where you want to get your pegs, and just start pushing them into place. Right, wherever you need it, wherever you need to just get it in there. Okay, until it's sitting quite solid, and then you just want to leave that to dry. While that's just drying just over there, we want to just now quickly mask this up. Right, now I mean, you can be just coming along and painting all this black stuff if you so wish, right, but I do like using the airbrush, and I'm just making sure, you know, this is all masked up. Right, get a cocktail stick and we can sort of nicely get that down. Right, just to make sure there's going to be no overspray, because if you see this side, you know, there is a little gap there that can kind of overspray in there. And then just getting out our black, giving it a good shake. We're using Vallejo, so we can get away with just pouring this in neat. It's nice, quick, it's not a fancy spray job, you know, we just want to get it down. Now, when doing this, we don't want to get any overspray, so we sort of really want to sort of get close, right, with our airbrush, right, and we just want to spray that in there, right, and just spray the bottom of the deck. Right, we don't want to be coming over this beam here, because if we come over, we're going to get overspray. Right, so nice, close, and don't come too high, and we can spray these out nice, quick and easy. If you feel a little bit not so competent with an airbrush, you know, there's nothing stopping you from coming along, quick kitchen paper towel, right, and you can just very quickly just stuff that in there, and that's gonna, you know, prevent your overspray even more if you want to do that on the safe side. right? But really we only need to sort of protect this decking, right? Once we get down here, it doesn't really sort of matter down here if we sort of get some overspray so much, you know. But nice bit of masking, and I'll just get all these sprayed up just off camera while our thing dries just at the back here, which will take, I mean, really, you know, 20 minutes is what this glue seems to take to dry, which is from Wix's. However, I mean, different wood glues dry at different times, so you know, just kind of get to know your drying times really. Now that this is all glued in, and you know, remove the pegs, get again our diluted wood glue here, and we just want to just literally, don't be shy, plaster that all on this side, and that's just to make sure, you know, the capillary action gets in there, and make sure we've glued this all down, as well as all these saw marks that we did so that we could actually bend the plank, right, are going to get filled in with this wood glue and sort of bring back the strength to the wood, right? And we do that all the way along, not messing about, and there you go. And that's basically the top deck all done now. So now we're going to come to quite a bit of a tricky part, which is sanding down all these ribs into a nice curve that our planking will sit on here rather nicely. And what you basically want is, you know, we're putting our little plank down here as a bit of a guide, right? And what you want to see is that at each rib, right, this plank fits nice and flush with each rib. And to do that, we sort of need to come along with a sanding stick and start to sand nice curves into our ribs to make these sort of nice curves that will get it to fit nice and flush with our planks. Now, as you can see, this is going to take quite an amount of time and effort to do this. So I've just sanded that one back a little bit there, right? And already I can see that it's starting to sort of go flush with our plank going on there. So just to show you a bit more of an example, I've already sort of done this side, and hopefully, as you can see where it's sort of sanded. It's quite hard to kind of show you on camera with this big thing, but hopefully, as you can see there, you know, it's sitting, the plank is now sort of, hold on, sorry, the plank is now sort of sitting flush with the ribs because I've sanded those sort of angles in them, right? And you basically want to do that all the way along this hull. However, you know, the tricky part is going to be the front and the back. So just to show you the back just here, and let's bring you in. Here's the one I've done. Right, maybe try and get you at a different angle. Again, this is massive. There you go. You can see that I've had to really sand back. Basically, what is it? Piece 34. Right, and what you basically want to do, you want to sand this back, right, to our false keel here. So you want all this sanded so it's flush with the false keel. So we've really got to sand back a hell of a lot of wood to get that all nicely in there. And at the same time as sanding that back to the false keel, we need to also be able to actually, you know, have our wood be all nice and flush and basically bend around here. I mean, you really sort of need to do some bending with the planking to actually get this to go all the way around there. I don't want to really snap it, but yeah, you want that to nicely go around with the curvature. Again, you know, coming along with our sanding stick and just nicely bringing that lovely sort of curve to it, right? And the trick is really, you want to sort of keep sanding away, right? And then you sort of want to bring back your plank of wood and just make sure that it's just nicely fitting nice and flush with all your ribs. It might be a good idea to actually go off and actually bend, say, one of these planks and sort of really give it a nice curve to it so that you can actually see it more better curving all the way around. But I find that if you just sort of rock it like this, you can sort of see if it's sitting all flush anyway. Another little tip here as well, because it can be quite time consuming to sort of sand all this back. I mean, what you sort of want to do is, you know, bring out our Rotorcraft tool here. Very, very nice tool. It can be a bit expensive. I think I paid almost £60 for this one, but it came with a set of loads of different sort of fittings that you can have. But I'll show you how this basically, you know, cuts through this this wood rather nicely. So you know, this is going to be a bit loud, so you might not hear me, but basically we turn this on, put it on a low setting, because you don't want to be blasting through this. There you go, just to kind of show you, and it gets mega dusty, so I don't really want to show you this too much, but you know, as you can see already, you know, we've sanded that bit back. Now when using this tool, just be careful that you don't go too far. Trust me, it's a lot easier to keep coming back, sand a bit more than it is to actually go too far, and then you've actually got to start packing and filling to build it up because you've sanded down too far. With this rotary craft tool, basically just get it so it's almost there, and then, you know, go, you know, take your time, come back to the sanding sticks and just, you know, sand that last bit the rest of the way and get it all nicely curved to our planks. Now I suppose really at the end of the day, I mean, you get it as good as you can, and then really you know, you can do a bit of sanding as you're doing the planking. It's not ideal, but you can. The next thing as well, which is another tricky part, right, is just here. Right, we've just got, I'm just trying to get this on camera, it is so tricky. Let's bring you in. Right, what we need to do is we sort of need to now sand this bit here at the bottom of our keel, well, our fake keel, so we say. I've already done the one side. Hopefully, as you can see, it's just basically, if we bring this here, you can just see that basically I've basically thinned down this false keel. Right, so doing this side, right, if I can get you on camera without knocking anything, here we go. Right, basically what you want to do is you can come along with your sanding stick, come along with your sanding stick and just sand like so. Right, so that you're just starting to sort of, you want to remove this until it comes to about 2 mil thick. Right, so you just want to sand away at this and sort of sort of go with these ribs, these 4 ribs, sort of go with a nice curve with these ribs. You don't have to be that perfect with this. I mean, you just want to sort of get this thinned down to like 2 mil. Don't worry about being too perfect, because our planks will be able to sort of maneuver a bit anyway, and we can play around with it later. You can come in with the rotor craft tool here if you want to. It speed things up a bit, but again, be careful. Right, you need to be careful not to go too far. You know, keep measuring and making sure you haven't gone more than 2 mil, less than 2 mil thick at our keel there. Now this is going to take a lot of sanding. Now, as I say, I mean, this really does get very sort of a lot of dust going on here, so get your face masks off. What I'm going to go do now, I'm actually going to go outside and I'm going to sand the hell out of this, get it all sanded, do it all outside, because I'm telling you, I did that one bit inside, and it's just, the sanding dust just absolutely gets everywhere. Not very good to breathe, plus it just goes over all your pots of paint and everything. It takes you ages to clean it up. So that would be my advice there. I mean, really, it is just take your time. It is a timely process. It is a bit of a hard process, but just keep on checking with your plank here. As I say, maybe bend a couple to start with, just to have a different couple of curvatures. So, and you just want to make sure, you know, this plank, your planks are just nice and flush with your ribs, going with nice curves. You know, so yeah, just kind of bear with it, do your best. You can sort of get away with it when you do the planking, because you can sort of do a bit of filling with super glue and everything if need be, or do a bit of sanding, or in some ways you can almost force it. But the other thing is at the end, when we've got all the planks on, we're going to give it one hell of a good sanding to get it all flat, nice and smooth. So you want to get it good, but don't worry too much, okay? So I'm going to go off now and do a hell of a lot of sanding now. Alright, done a load of sanding, took quite a bit of time, but got there in the end. Just to show you, this is what you're sort of after, is, you know, this nice smoothed out curved edge, nice and flush with the fake keel, as well as getting that 2mm sort of sanding out. To show you, see how we've got that down to like about 2mm now. That will make it all nice for our planks to just nicely, you know, be able to have contact with each and every single rib to help it to bite down a lot better and not have bumps and lumps, and it'll be all nice and smooth. But before we go on with that, I've had a little bit of an accident, and actually that accident is potentially an accident you're going to have, so I'm going to show you how to fix it. And that is, you might have noticed it, we've got one of our ribs here has snapped while I was sanding across. I've caught it and this piece has snapped off. So how do we get this back in place? Well, for a start, right, you know, let's just get out the glue, right, and we can glue this straight on with our wood glue, right, like so. I think in this case it's sort of best to let it, you know, leave the oozed out bits of glue as well, because it will help with its strength. But I want to get this even stronger. Right, so what I've done is taking our normal bit of planking, I've just cut a randomly sort of, I don't know, about 10mm size going on there. Right, we'll put a bit of glue now, just either side of this piece, right, and then what I'm basically going to do is glue that one there, and then I'm going to glue another one just about the same size the other side, right, and we just want to get this in a nice position now. Now we don't have to worry about sort of seeing this, because I mean, again, this is all inside. Getting a peg now just to clamp that down. Right, just want to move that one a bit. Yeah, okay. So we're getting that peg, we're clamping it down, and basically we're just putting two planks either side to support it. We just want to let that dry now, and I can show you another little extra bit of strength we can put into that once this is dried. Right, this has now had time to dry, and to be honest with you, I mean, this is feeling pretty damn solid as it is. Actually, I think it would probably be alright, but just to make sure, I've got a 2mm drill here, right, and I'm just gonna drill a hole all the way through. So once our hole has been drilled all the way through, sadly it's at a bit of an angle, but you know, it's still alright. What we're going to do, good old wooden toothpick, right, let's just break it in half. Let's get our wood glue, right, and then let's just kind of get a load of this glue sort of all over this, right, sort of get as much as you can get in there. Right, we'll wipe up whatever mess we have later, and then simply we push this through our little hole, right, maybe get a little bit of glue in there. We sort of want to work the glue right in this hole, right, just like so. And what we want to do is just sort of like clean this up, right. Let's get rid of the big blobs of glue going on here, just like that. Right, and let's just leave that to dry for like maybe 20 minutes. So that's had a bit of time to dry. Simply come in with your cutters, right, and we cut off both ends, and that there is really going to add that nice extra bit of strength. It is probably protruding a little bit, so give this a bit of a sanding. There we go, we get rid of that, and next up really you can whack some paint on there and that should be all good. In fact, that is potentially going to be stronger than all the others on the ship. Next up is we're finally going to get into some planking.